I am live. And just temporarily mute this. Could I just start going? Are there people in the room or on it? No, 3 people in. Right, there we go. Good morning. I am Shrf and welcome to MusicTT Presents Reverb. So I guess I could kind of get straight started into everything. And it is basically music production in 4 essential steps. Now, if anyone wants to look at it again, look at the webinar again, you can go onto MusicTT's YouTube page. At the end, they'll have it up, and you can kind of look at it as many times as you need to, right? So keep going. Boom. Who is Shrf? Shrf is this guy on the screen right here. This really handsome fella. I am a music producer, engineer from Trinidad and Tobago, of course. And I have been in the business for, I could say 13 years, 10, 13 years, somewhere around there. And working on a bunch of stuff with a bunch of people, most whose names you probably already know. Infamously, I am known for the guy who produced Bungie Garland's Differentology that did the entire wonderful thing, that Carnival 2012-2013 season. Nice BET Soul Train award-winning song. It's lovely. Working on a bunch of other stuff with a bunch of people. Did albums with Freetown, stuff for Marge Blackman, early stuff with Nyla Blackman as well. I guess everybody that you probably might know, I've worked with most of them already. Other than that, done stuff with Taras Riley, I guess remixes with Busta Rhymes, remixes with Wyclef Shaw, recorded stuff with Angela Hunt, Tedison John, Egyptian, Busy Signal, just to name a few people, I guess. Now doing a lot of mixing and engineering for a lot of clients, I guess internationally, from Switzerland to India to Macedonia to, of course, the UK, across the pond in the US as well. So that's me in a nutshell. If we keep going on now, we can kind of really get into the thick of the sauce, right? So I like to break down my process into these 4 steps that you have on the screen: listen, build, produce, and manage, right? And it is my process to creating this easy overarch of what you should do from start to finish when an artist comes to you with an idea or a song written, and use that energy straight to the final product to get it into mixing. So I'm not going to get into a lot of the technical nitty-gritty stuff. We kind of more, as I say, overarching the process, and maybe you could probably find something from my process to kind of incorporate into your process, or probably change your approach. But any technical questions that you could have, you could always slot it into the chat window, and we could always get to that at the end, right? So listen, build, produce, and manage. So step 1, listen to the song. First thing that I would naturally say that I would get done before I decide to open my door, Logic, Pro Tools, PreSonus, Ableton, whatever, before I even decide to open anything up, I am sitting listening to the song. So an artist comes in, he or she has a song, I want to kind of establish what genre they're kind of trying to line into, and now see where my interpretation of this genre is going to go. Is it going to be hard and fast? Is it going to be something a little bit more musical? We could get a little trappy. Could we be a little adventurous and could have like maybe a soca with trap drums, or a dance or with more live drums? I don't know. We could really try some stuff. So I want you to sing the song over and over for me a few times, so I'm getting a clear picture in my mind. The more you sing little things like, just the idea might just come with just a melody or a lyric for the verse or the chorus. Now, the more I get this repeating, is the more I'm establishing all of these things. So I'm now kind of getting more accustomed to what the lyrical content is or should be, and establishing a mood and emotion. I might say within this, it sounds good. Establishing what your voice sounds like, what your range could be like. We should probably push it up a little bit, start a little higher, and determine, like again, I say the mood or emotion. So the key of a song for me is the major part of where we get to establish what mood or vibe it is. Something simple as the chromatic C, chromatic scale, or sharps these days kind of help with EDM and sometimes soca music. Minors, major sevenths are a bit more emotive. I might want to play to that. So just like simple things I keep in my mind, in my arsenal. So I kind of draw for those things very quickly, right? These are little tricks that I kind of amalgamated over the years, and I kind of just work with that. Now, while you singing, I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly where everything is to figure out where your verses, where your pre-chorus is, where chorus is, post-chorus, establishing the intent. And I'm now making little notes and little arrangements in my brain saying like, okay, cool, maybe this is a bit stronger and you should probably move your pre-chorus into your chorus side. It's pretty strong. Move your post-chorus into your pre and leave your chorus as your post-chorus. So little things like that. We switch stuff around, right? Maybe even tightening up or loosening some of the content of the pre-chorus, the verse. It might be a bit too witty, it might be a bit too relaxed. You want to kind of figure those things out, right? So I'm now arranging, and I will kind of set like a simple chord structure. I might just pick up a guitar, I might go in the keys and just play something now, just like simple 3 to 4 chords that will kind of help you. You can sing along with it and be like, okay, cool, I'm feeling the vibe of where everything going now. We kind of establishing a little intent. This is where I will start with my backbone. It could start with keys, it could start with chords, it could start with maybe one little percussion, it could start with a little sample from what you have on your vocal, and taking it from there and just keep pushing the entire thing forward. Now, during this entire process, I am more or less trying to establish where you as a vocalist will be sitting, where your vocal ability is, how far I could push you, how far your songwriting ability is, and where now I am sitting with my vocal to push around the production. And by understanding what your vocal ability is, I could now make simple decisions or even more complex decisions as to what I would do within the vibe of the production. Because like I say, I have a couple of steps going down the line, and I keep thinking about it as I go. I have all these steps in the back of my mind, and keeping everything cognizant, because now the basis of your song is generally a vocalist. The vocalist is the main part of your song, main part of modern music. All the nice fanciness I'm going to do, all the chords I'm going to play, all the fancy little samples I'm going to put in and whatnot, that is going to aid the song and the singer. But you want to kind of assess what the singer is able to do and make the production sit well around the vocal. That's your intent as the producer, right? Even if it is you don't have a vocalist in front of you, because a lot of times that's how production goes these days. Somebody build a beat, send it to a writer or send it to an artist, they write over it. You still want to produce with elements that are not so distracting, so that there's like a clear pocket and clear linear melodies that could kind of tickle the air. And the vocalist could be right in the middle without feeling too bothered by other little sonic elements in the great source that way. So I always keeping these things in mind, keeping them going every time I make an assessment. So now I would figure maybe a female vocalist, how high could she go? How strong is her falsetto? How strong is her chest voice? How low could she go? Male vocalist, same thing. How good are you at following instructions, taking harmonies, doing your own harmonies? How strong are you at these, like coming up with your own harmonies? How clear is the picture of your song in your own mind? And now I am now taking all of these and adding my source to it. So you're not straying too far away from what they want or what they are trying to achieve. You're trying to, as I like to say, up produce. You take it and you want to embellish it into something a bit grand and a bit more emotive. And when I say more emotive, it doesn't necessarily mean we're trying to just be all nice and in our fields. I mean, even with dancehall, there's a bit of aggression. So you want to play to that mood, how hard the snares will snap, you know what I mean? And what kind of snare based on the vocalist timbre of his voice. Somebody might have a thinner voice, and you probably want to get a snare with a little bit more body, simple things like that. Even the pattern of the snare around the voice could help. Somebody might have a very deep bassy voice, and to help it, you could probably get a nice... I think I lost myself a little bit there, but it's good. Yeah, so now we're back to building the beat, step 2. And now I'd be kind of trying to solidify what the meat or the skeleton of the song would be. So now I'm back to choosing, simple things that would go around the chordal structure or percussive structure that I probably already established while listening to the song. So I probably have some keys in there, some little electric piano or a guitar. So for ease of reference, right? A simple thing would be like if we have to use differentology as a reference, I would have started with a guitar playing the chords, the exact same chords that the keys were playing. And in my era, I did not tune the guitar properly. So that led me to play the same thing with the keys to make sure that my guitar was in tune. I never went back to the guitar, even though the guitar was played in a more, I guess, jazzy and percussive context. Never went back to that, but the keys stayed. So everything stayed with that. From the keys, I went to the percussion, the boom, 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 boom. That's where he got his inspiration and did the and then the song just flew from there. So I bring that up to say, at each point in time, you want to always keep the artist in mind and have that reference to say everything that you add needs to add inspiration to the artist and to the songwriter so that they can now use this as fuel to add more energy and finality to the lyrical content and how they express their vision of the song. Yeah. So I am very careful in how I choose these things. I kind of more or less feel the energy of the room. It's pretty easy if you kind of listen. Just kind of learn to listen or learn to feel the energy of the artist or writer in the room, and you more or less want to play up to things that are around them, and make sure that with every step that you don't lose them, you don't lose them with each thing that you add or minus. Then usually for me, after I have one little percussive or melodic element, I go straight to drums. For me, it's my strong point. It's my favorite part of the thing. So like, I go straight into drums, winging it one time, right? Everyone has different ways of doing drums, so this can get really, really intense really fast. But my preferred way is a combination of sometimes samples, sometimes loops, and predominantly, I would say, 70 to 75% native instruments machine drum programming, and the other 25% is a combination of loop samples and stuff that I would get from libraries like Splice, or an amalgamation of loops and samples that I have kept over the years, and I keep like a couple of go-to things. So now a few things that I always try to keep in mind is the key of the song. So simple things like the kick and the snare having the correct key of the song are really important for me, because I have to work a little bit less later down the line to kind of get them to knock or hit in the way that I need them to, because they kind of phase and indicate the song. With each kick or snare having a different key, it goes up or down in pitch. And simple things. Sometimes you have a song that is in F and you have a kick that is in E, and it feels okay, and then it just feels like it's slapping you in your chest the moment you just turn it up by one semitone. Now it's an F, we're good to go, and it just feels like it pumps. So I have a bunch of libraries in Native Instruments Machine. To be very honest, is like about 25. Now, within each library, there's about 20 to 30 drum kits in each library pack. So, big to big guys, I'm kind of overdoing it on drums. But for me, because I like adventure and I like to not be very good to myself in the entire process, I choose my drums very whimsically. So I don't usually go back to the same things all the time. I have like about 4 or 5 favorites that have similar kicks or snares for songs that I know I would want. But for the most part, I think that I would naturally be winging it. So you have a song, you singing it, I am just scrolling through 50 something, 100 something drum kits based on the library that I would have. Some might be a hip hop library, some might be a more a house library, a more Caribbean or reggae library, EDM library, and I go through each one knowing that I'm going to get certain things. And the more I whimsically go through these with different songs, I kind of establish a sonic character of each library, and I kind of know where I could or should go or shouldn't. Doing lo-fi stuff, I'll go to this version of this hip hop library and I'll be okay. So I'm going through and I am trying to just find the most proper groove that keeps the skeleton of the track at bay. Is it a 4 on the floor kick? Is it a kick? Is it boom bap, kick then snare? Do we have a kind of swing? How much do they swing? Soca has a really nice swing, like it's a real nice swing as opposed to doing something like Bella Funk, which is a different kind of swing that even kind of sends my brain to a loop sometimes. But with each genre, it creates a different thing, different sonic characters and different swings that emote differently based on the song that you're trying to produce, right? You want to understand these things fully so you can use them to your advantage when you're producing. So that's a major part of it. Go then from there, after I probably have a little structure of it, I might go to my sample library or go to splice.com and I might find maybe a kick in the key that I want to add to the kick that I already have. Maybe I might find like a loop of hi-hats or a loop of percussions that will kind of just add a little movement and some dynamics and source to the entire drum kit. Maybe I might just add a couple of little percussive elements, toms, drums, congos, bongos, something. So within the vibe of the genre, I might say, let me be adventurous and let me add some tablas. And as opposed to, maybe I might have something that I want in my mind, I might go for a little kit and I might play it. Sometimes the adventure of not knowing what you're going to get when you kind of wing a loop and the loop swerves or swings in a different way with what you have there already, then it adds a different kind of move or texture to the colors that you already painted in your drums, right? So that's usually me there. And drums is my favorite part, but I kind of get past that relatively quickly because it's my favorite part, and I kind of so engulfed in that it gets done pretty easily. So once I have a groove established, then it makes my life pretty easy to know what I want to add. All right. On top of that, I'm going to add some bass. Easy, right? Within the vibe of the song, I would know what kind of bass I want. I probably would have narrowed it down to like about 2 or 3 kinds of bass and 2 or 3 bass presets based on the synths or the plugins that I have. So sine bass, everybody love 808, probably a drone bass, something with a little bit more bite, a live bass, it really does depend. And once you have that established, then you kind of now have the more backbone of the song going, because you have that kick, snare, bass relationship with your vocal, maybe that one little chord that you start with. And to be very honest, that's the shell of your song. You want to always have your bass tone and your pattern or progression complement the song as well as the groove right? In terms of that, when I say that, what I mean is the low end of your song is usually the most important. Like we're using soca, for example. So the low end of your song is usually the most important part. Maybe bass is important, probably a little less important than your kick. We like stuff to drive. When in the party, when in the fat, big speakers need to be like pow, pow, pow. That kick is driving. So you don't want a bass that is going to kind of mess up the intent of what you're trying to produce. Like going to get in the way of anything. So what I would usually do is start with a tone that I know could work and that feels good based on the other elements in the song already. Go with a simpler pattern that I could probably make a little bit more complex as I go. And also, I want to be very mindful of the way that the bass hits the groove. Now, this is a really, really simple trick. If you have a kick that is a bit longer, you want to use a more staccato or percussive type bass that would be shorter. Now, if you have a short kick, you can get away with having longer notes in your bass. So now they have enough space for each other. You just don't want them to fight, because sonically your bass is going to range from like 50 hertz all the way up to probably 8K. Your kick probably going to do the same thing, and the basic energy of that part is going to be between 50, 60 hertz and like about 3, 4, 5, 800 probably is where the bulk of the energy. You can even come down lower, say like 200, right? You could have a subby kick that could probably have a less intense bass, right? And you could have a subby bass with a lighter kick. Simple things like that. You want to keep those things in mind, because you don't want to be scrambling at the end and having your mix engineer catching your tail to kind of make these things mix, you know what I mean, to fit together. Honestly, the better produced your song is, and the more that you take these things into consideration from this stage, is the better your mix on your end product is going to be, and then the better your master is going to be, because now they have less issues. Now these people will be more focusing on enhancing than fixing what you have already done, right? And moving forward from there, now we still building the beat. We have an additional instrumentation. We want to create anything that will kind of marry the mood with what the artist wants, and anything creatively you want to input, right? It could be a lot, it could be a little bit, it could be sparse, it could be pretty busy, but once the mood stays there, right? You want to keep the artist in mind as well. You want to make sure that they kind of feeling everything that you're adding or minusing, and you want to find little spaces to insert your little melodies, your like I call them sweeteners or airworms, like a special sauce, as I like to say. Trying to find any example at the top of my mind. I can't really get one there. Off the top of my mind, for example, I did Marge Blackman's B, and for me, the melodic airworm would have been that guitar that starts the song. It's like a Coldplay-esque kind of a guitar riff, and that just kind of starts the song, kind of gets your attention, but it stays very mellow under the chorus, doesn't kind of intrude, but the intent and the vibe of it being there is so impactful that when it isn't, then you feel like a rest. The song comes down, and that now creates nice little lines and melodies and sweetness, so that I am now creating things that could kind of play to different parts of the song, that could more or less manipulate the mood of the song as it is playing without its 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right? You're finding a few of these, it may not be a lot. Like you could have a simple song like Zessa that is so sparse, but like the percussive element and the vocal is just so out there, like you really don't need much. So you don't need many sweeteners. So like anything else that comes in kind of really stands out. So if that is your style, you take that into consideration as well. Now you have your full set of chord structures, and say it's a simple song with a guitar, keys, some doodly doodly instruments somewhere inside of there, some drums. You have some plenty drums, kick, snare, probably 2 snares, hi hats, one tom, percussions, congas, boom boom. We songing real nice right now. Everything grouping. We have a couple of little, like I say, doodly doodlies, airworms inside of there, and now most people would now be building, or most doors now, most digital audio workstations, they kind of encourage people to build in blocks like Melodyne, not Melodyne, oh my gosh, Ableton. Ableton is definitely that. It encourages you to build in a block of 4 based on the BPM of the song or whatever. So when you have your parts, you can more or less sequence going down on your timeline, bring things in, take things out selectively, right? Within that, we have all these parts that I just mentioned, your first chords, percussions, drum kit, bass, toodly doodlies. Now I'm going to try to sequence this around the timeline, around the song that I was listening to first, right? Within this space, I am basically trying to set the mood from intro to outro. So if the song is one of these things that need to like, boom, hit hard one time from the get-go, then we start with the most impactful part of the instrumentation. And the artist does their thing, lyrically, vocally, boom, comes in. Then we create like probably the nice build coming up, pardon me, into the pre-chorus, into the chorus. A good example is when Precision Productions did Mr. Fett, how many ever years ago? I remember having a discussion with him, and he was like, he tried something with the arrangement, and the drums really didn't kick in till like about a minute and change in, which is a bit different. Most soca songs, they kind of have the drums, like drums is the build. So he created this crescendo of mood and emotion coming all the way in, based around just vocal and song, backing vocal and melody around there with lyric, a couple of chords here and there, maybe the bass kind of kicks in on the pre. And basically, it is just for you to be adventurous with the arrangement, because you can use a set standard arrangement most times, all the times, but once you're producing something for someone, it is always welcome that you be a bit adventurous and throw caution to the wind sometimes, because you're trying to wrap the song around the artist and trying to get the music to wrap around the artist and the song. So for the most part, you're kind of keeping these things. Everything that I do is kind of playing to that first part where I'm listening to the song, establishing the mood, keep going. Within that, I am now still trying to create a clear distinction between verse and chorus. I want to probably either have a really hype chorus because my verses are mellow, or have a verse into pre-chorus that real bubbling, to create a contrast where the chorus kind of dips a lot. So creating the mood based on what the song is really, really important. And it's important to kind of figure things out. A lot of times, you move things around, certain things that you would have done early, like the first chords that I would have been playing, probably I would have thought would have been like the backbone of the song. But it probably could work as just that piece in the chorus, and a toodly doodly piece that I think it was an earworm could go from start to finish, So you want to kind of play around with everything like that. Now, once I have this, I'm going back and forth with the artist to make sure that he or she is cool with where we are now. And I want to make sure that whatever idea, whether we have all the lyrics or not, whatever idea, wherever we are now, this energy that we have now, I want to kind of track that. I just want to get some guide vocals to hear how the vocal sits on top of the music. Because he has been singing in my ears and she has been singing in my ears for the past half an hour, me building this beat, 45 minutes. And now I want to hear it coming through the speakers as well. I want to hear how the recording is going to more or less work with the music that I just put together. Now, at this point in time, I could be very happy with it. I could be something missing. I'm not sure. I could totally not like it anymore. At that point in time, I want to assess. So now I'm just going to track my vocals to establish the structure of the song. So slap my preamp on, boom, 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 set you up with the mic, get you a little comfortable, put your headphones on, make some noise in your ears, press record, everybody happy, right? So after that, now I want to sit and carefully deliberate with the artist or the writer or the vocalist where we are and what we're doing. So now, at that point in time, if the song isn't done, we want to probably go in and probably do some extensive writing based on the parts of the song when we get that stuff done. But for today, we're going to assume these people had this stuff in our gear and we come with a fully worked song, so we don't have to do too much after. We just produce it, right? But still keep in mind that sometimes as a producer, it is still your responsibility to kind of guide the writer or the artist to a space where the song makes sense and feels cohesive. You know, you're kind of building this wonderful end product. So you doing management more or less, right? Artist has the songs done, written, they go home, they have a nice demo instrumental to work with, nothing too outlandish in terms of instruments being too loud or too soft. You kind of give a nice little rough mix, everybody happy, goes home, comes back a little while later because they practice. It's really important. They practice. Now we into vocal production, which is a really, really important part of the step. For the most part, we have budget studios, simple studios where one mic, one preamp, we good to go, keep that mellow. Me, I have gotten into the habit of recording with compression, no EQ really. But I have like about 2, sometimes 3 preamps that I would use based on the vocalist. I have a couple of mics, 2, probably 3, but I kind of just fell into a space where one kind of works for me and does everything, so I don't really change it. But within this, it is still important to understand, even if you have one mic and one preamp, it is still just very important to understand what your equipment does or doesn't do, right? You may have a mic that may be really nice for recording low-tone vocalists, but somebody with a regular voice or probably a more high-pitched voice, it comes out a bit nasally or probably sometimes SE. You want to be cognizant of those facts. You want to understand what your mic gives off, what your preamp gives off, how far you could drive it, how little you could drive it, what the room noise in your recording environment is doing to your recording, how noisy you should or shouldn't record. As a rule of thumb, most people either run stuff through analog equipment post, like within mixing, or a lot of people invest in a lot of plugins that are emulated from hardware. Rule of thumb is that recording levels stay between -12 to -18 dB because that is usually the sonic sweet spot for most of these analog emulated plugins, right? We could get into those recording levels, but that is like an entire hour conversation. Just trust me here and say that we're going to record and not get past -12, -11, -10, we're pushing it, we get a couple of peaks, maybe you don't have a compressor to control the peaks, but you want to keep it within that space, right? There's a lot of things to take in consideration in terms of the different kinds of levels. dB is different from dBFS, which is different from dBu, but you just want to kind of say like those meters in your DAW, in your Ableton, in your Logic, in your project, in your Pro Tools, the meter just doesn't cross -12 too much. It does, it's fine, we're not too rigid here, we're winging it, but we don't want to have a too loud or too hot recording because that could create issues after. You might run into some distortion and that is irreversible, and you might have the best take from the vocalist and you don't want to distort your best take. You want to create the best levels possible for moving forward, right? So you understand what your environment, your mics, your preamps, basically all the equipment, what it could do. Within the fact there, as I said, you're recording your recording levels, you're establishing your recording levels, and you want to more or less put it down to like, this is how it sounds for you, the sonic picture coming through the speakers, but you now need to create something like a headphone mix or balance where the artist feels most comfortable. Artists probably want to hear themselves with a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb. Some people want to hear themselves dry. Some people want the music low. Some people want the music loud in their ears. And you want to create that so you get the best performance out of the vocalist at that point in time. So now you take this little rough, you kind of work your way around the project. You could probably, group everybody, load them down, easy, probably run them through a VCA or a bus in your door, drop everybody down, or create a little headphone mix. There's a whole different complex thing on the sidelines there, so that they hear whatever they need to hear through their headphones, and you hear what you need to hear through your monitor mix, through your monitors, right? For me personally, sometimes if sessions go really hard and fast, sometimes you have sessions back to back. You have a 2-hour session now, or 3-hour session after, and it's really trying to get stuff done. Like, I just mess stuff up in the project, and whatever you want to hear, I move it, make sure that it sounds good. I actually have my headphone amp where I plug in and hear what the artist is trying to hear, right? And try to make sure that you hearing what I believe you should hear, you hearing what you need to hear and what you want to hear, you hearing what I think you should hear, and it isn't too loud, isn't too overpowering, and not like you're trying to shout above the music. You're comfortable. Then I would probably monitor from somewhere else that's a bit lower so that my ears don't get to hurt like later on in the day. So psychologically, you are now ushering the artist into a comfortable space to get the best performance out of it. So you're doing not only project management, but you're doing psychological management on the project and on the artist when they're recording, right? Now you want to define what you record and how you record them. So you're easy, start from your lead, into pre-chorus, into chorus, into post-chorus, come down the line. You might have one of these songs that has one of these pre-choruses, just fly into the second verse, boom, you already get that done. So we record the second verse, maybe a bridge, and we go down the line. It is really, really important to understand that sometimes when you have a vocalist, sometimes they kind of come in really, really quick, and they now may not do something simple like warm up. So they kind of come and start to get into the recording one time because they're pretty eager, or you didn't tell them to warm up, or they just didn't take this on their own. So now we're recording, but the voice isn't as warm. And I usually take that first 15 minutes to establish the tone, or the best tone for the recording that's going to go all the way through, right? So I would probably start recording, doing everything that I had to get done, boom, boom, boom. I will kind of say, you're a bit too dry here. You probably need to sound a bit more emotive. You're singing from your phone, you sound like you're reading it. I want you to kind of put some more emotion into it. I want you to put a smile on your face while you're recording. It feels a little bit more happy. I needed to use your raspy voice, sing more from here because it sounds really sexy. Or I want you to sing a little bit more baritone, put a little bit more body, use your chest voice here. Know when to create a bridge between your chest and head voice, where your best mix is, stuff like that, right? So I am establishing what you as the vocalist should be outputting, putting you in that mood to deliver the song in its best performance, yeah? And within that, like I say, you can't get away from doing like really good vocal warm-ups. Either you do it before or during the recording. Plain talk, right? You do it before, your life is a breeze. Everything recording real nice, boy. Now, sometimes we get a little lazy, or sometimes we get a little forgetful. We don't do vocal warm-ups. That's perfectly fine. It's not always fine, but it's fine here. So what I would naturally do is start recording the first verse, the pre-chorus, the chorus, post-chorus, establishing the sonic picture. By the time I get to the chorus, your voice is warm. So you already know what tone you're going for, what you're looking for, and how you're going to attack the mic and your vocals to get the best. I'm going all the way down and getting the best parts. With a very well-rehearsed vocalist and a very well-written song, the recording part of it really doesn't take you too long. Within 30 to 45 minutes, you could have that part down, all right? With a very well-rehearsed and well warmed up vocalist. So, assuming vocalist didn't warm up, we want to go back now and listen to the recording from start to finish again. And we could realize that the vocalist could now attack the first verse and maybe even the pre-chorus a bit stronger. So now that your voice is warm, we could come back and do it with a whole different volition here and be a little bit more detailed in the characteristics and the delivery of the first verse and the pre-chorus coming all the way down the line, right? So we still gonna get some warm up in the whole source, but we coming down the line, going back in, we might check the chorus. That's still working out real nice. Record everything down to the end, the bridge. We might want to have a different take of the last chorus. We might record the last chorus differently with a few more ad-libs. And I usually record it like this. It depends on how I feel and how fast I want the recording to go. So I may or may not do doubles coming on the line. So I might double parts of the verse or the pre-chorus, and I may come back and do it after. Or for a simple thing like a vocalist not being able to sonically stay in the space once keys move up and down because they're probably not too great with pitch and they need a little bit more guidance. A simple case like this, I do the doubles one time. So once you are mentally and psychologically in that space, I'm taking care of what is in that space at that moment. So that's a nice little trick too. We come all the way down, we record the entire lead. We could listen to the entire lead. We can assess that. We could be done for the day, or we could be adventurous and we could kind of be like, yo, we're going to push this envelope. We're going to record some back-end vocal shit. We don't care what this song. So a simple thing to create the stack of your back-end vocals, like what I would do is I would record 4 melody parts, which would be the exact same thing as the lead, which I could pan hard left, hard right, mid left, mid right to create a bit of body. And then I start doing harmonies from there. And your harmonies now depends on the song. We could get really, really adventurous. For example, I guess some of the songs that I would have done on the Freetown album were pretty simple, and the harmonies just were like a third up or a fifth down, really simple stuff. Or really, really complex with like layers of 16 and 24, where both vocalists from the band would do varying versions and inverted versions of each other's harmonies. So you may have a fifth, you may have a seventh, somebody might do an octave low and an octave up, little things like that that create the mood or help usher the mood in the parts that need lifting. It's like having a really big chorus in a soca song, right? So you kind of create that nice little body, that little crowdy kind of a feeling where you as the listener feel to get involved, is like ushering you as the listener to be like, yo, I believe this is my point here to sing because they have so many vocals. I think I could add mine and not hear how bad my key is, and I could sing along and pretend I could sing with everybody else too. So with the backing vocals, you kind of you're creating more mood, as I say, and you might crescendo your mood into the chorus or the pre-chorus or the post-chorus. You know what I mean? You kind of you're basically telling the listener how to feel through your whole 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the song. You'd be like, yo, this is how you're supposed to feel because this is what I played and this is what he is singing and this is what we're going to output here. And the mood, I guess, here, whether it is harsh and party dancehall or whether it is smooth and sexy or whether it is lovey-dovey rubber-dub, whether it is that you're keeping it real simple and it more reggae, more contemplative, the mood is really important. So how you assess your vocal recording and by extension your backing vocals and your harmonies is the most important part. There's a lot of technical stuff in between there, but like I said today, we overarching. By that point in time, we're done. We play back, we assess. We could be like, these harmonies here don't fit, or we could probably use less harmonies on the first chorus as we do on the second. We could probably put some more little backing vocals inside there. We probably should record an ad-lib track just for safeness. And you kind of more establish the sonic picture of everything. We're almost done. We're almost there. And now you listen and you say, yeah, the artist be like, I like our songing. I like my backing vocals. The toodly doodlies that you come in is sounding pretty good. You know what I mean? Maybe if you want, I give you liberty to add a couple more toodles onto the doodles. But more or less, I'm pretty happy with where we are. Give me an MP3. You're probably going to try to get a real horrible sounding one because you don't want them to get too attached to that one. But give up MP3 so I could go home and I can listen to this and I can play them for my friends to be like, I did some stuff in studio today. Boom, boom, yeah, me. Within that, now you finish playback, you finish assess. Now this is where your work could continue. And now my least favorite part is managing the session, right? So at this point in time, I want to be doing any additional production that I probably didn't do before because I'm trying to get the song to flow very easy, the process to flow very easily. So at this point in time, I'm going back and I'm listening to the song very intently, going through it a fine tooth comb. I want to create little drum drops here, little music drops here, maybe go back in and play a little something different on the bass, create a little transition between pre-chorus to chorus. I probably want to add some sweeps. I might go back to splice and get some little risers or downers or little drum fills that kind of help me out in that little space to kind of add a little sauce, a little spiciness, a little spontaneity to certain parts of the track that makes it not feel like we just created some loops and just dropped them all the way down on the timeline. We're creating a song, and again, we say we usher in mood. So you kind of really want to tell the listener how to feel, you're evoking an emotion all the way through. So if it's a real hype chorus, you want to be like, ba-dam, bam, ba-dam, boom, straight into your hook. Yeah, it's just like, yes, this one is big, super reverbed out, whatever you want to get done. So I am taking care of all of these things, editing, making sure everything is good, sweeps, fills, transitions, and making it gel. You want to make it gel together, right? And making sure that the little things that you do have the song moving from section to section. Like I say, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, post-chorus, second verse, little things coming out of the chorus too. These things are really helpful. Makes you sound like you know what you're doing. So after that, I want to manage my levels. I want to make sure that I want to create the best rough mix or the best monitor mix I could find. I want to make sure that just simply balancing the levels is basically how I believe the song should sound. Even when I know it's not mixed, I want to balance my rough mix to make it feel to me like this is exactly how it should sound. The kick is as loud as it should be. The snare is as loud as it should be. The vocals are sitting right on top. I really want to just kind of just levels. We're not doing too much EQ and too much compression. You want to add the effects here. If you have little delay throws on the vocal on certain parts or on certain instruments, you put those things in because you want to create the sonic picture in your rough mix or monitor mix as to what you believe the finished version of the song should sound like. That's what you're doing here. So the artist is gone. You doing all of these little things, boom, putting it together. You and the artist could come back now, deliberate, okay, yeah, this is the best version of the rough mix that we have. We're good with that. We should probably hand this over to a mix engineer, qualified mix engineer who can mix this and get it to that level for us so that we could take it to a mastering engineer and they could get it radio ready, right? So within you creating all of these nice little transitions, getting the song to gel, monitor mix, boom, boom, boom. You want to be able to label everything so that when you give it to your mix engineer, that he understands everything that he's supposed to do. Is the worst thing as a mix engineer to get a big bunch of files, 70 files that says audio 1 through 78, like 9 times out of 10, a mix engineer going to send that back for you, and you have to do it over. And you want to clearly state what everything is so that the mix engineer knows what he's getting into and is now making technical and creative decisions based on your notes. Right? You color code everything, you group stuff together, you group your drums together, you group your percussions, your bass, your keys, synths, vocals, backing vocals, boom. You're good. Your session is prepped, is organized, boom. You can either hand the session over to a mix engineer or print your stems out and hand those over to a mix engineer. Everyone is happy. Now we deliver these things in like 24-bit WAV files or AIFF files, and you kind of want to send your rough mix via FTP, WeTransfer, Google Drive, mail big file, whatever you want to use, put it in your Dropbox, send a link, however you want to do it, you deliver that to your mix engineer, and boom, you're done. You kind of let that person mix it, and you hope for the best, hope that they didn't really mess up this masterpiece that you just spent the last few days or weeks working on that way. So that's my like simple 4 overarching steps into how to make a production, or my approach to production, and it deals a lot with the mood and the psychological aspects of getting the artist to deliver their best self. So I am ushering a lot of things in. I'm like a little magician. I the midfield. I the midfield. I the playmaker. I'm making everything happen, connecting all the dots. But of course, the striker scores the goals, and I make sure and try to get some credit in the back end. I know, but within the vibe, those are like my basic four overarching steps. Now I could keep talking, but you all could probably run in and drop any questions in the chat section. This is your time now to shine and be like, yo, anything you want to ask me are at your disposal for the next few minutes. I hope I didn't overspeak and then give enough time for like questions, but no. What about chorus 2 having little melodic differences from chorus 1? It's always a good idea, player. It's always a fantastic idea. Like there was this one time I remembered, it's a little different from what you're saying. You sometimes don't want to go too far with the melodic differences, depending on the kind of song that you're doing. If you're doing something a little bit more avant-garde, a little bit more artsy, and the spaces for that is more musical, fine. I think sometimes if you're doing things that are more radio ready, I guess more pop, I guess more soca, the establishing what your chorus is with a bit of continuity of theme stays. So you don't want to be like the first chorus was in A minor and the next chorus just jumps across into a D flat number. It's kind of weird. But if it works, it works. But adding a little bit of extra sauce, or sometimes you may have a song that may be three chords. It might be F, G, and A minor. And adding something a little bit different into the second chorus where it kind of goes up to like a B minor or C, or a major seventh instead of a A playing for 2 bars. It's F, G, A major 7, something like that. That could kind of help you out there. Little differences kind of usher the intent in the mood, because as you say, you want to have melodic differences, and chorus 1 could be established as the vocal chorus, and now you kind of usher the mood into a different level on chorus 2. So that's a really, really good question. I remember one time I did a song where I was totally too adventurous about it. Now, it worked out for me. I don't know how other people received it, but I did a song where verse, pre-chorus, chorus, second verse, pre-chorus, second chorus, and I changed the keys or changed the chords for the bridge. I never changed them back. So now the chorus ended up playing on the chords for the bridge, or the final chorus played on the chords for the bridge, which added like a this. This makes any sense? So it's the chorus and then the bridge does this, and then the final chorus does this, because it kind of like sonically they work together, but then they have this bit of disparity where they change up and they feel a bit different, and now there's a totally different mood towards the end of the song. For me, always works. And yes, airworms are always the best way to go. Kind of like little sonic signatures. Cohen Dubois did What Less? I think it was like 2010. And that bum 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 bum. Like that starts the song. We know what's coming. So like that stays all the way through the song, as much as it can through the song, even though chords change. And that is like a signature airworm. That, as a DJ, anything can be playing. Once that is playing underneath, everyone knows what is coming. And that's why little sonic airworms are really, really important, especially in pop music and in soca, where you kind of want to kind of trick the listener into understanding that your song real bad now, boy. And it's gonna be real bad, and people gonna like it. So now it is the thing that kind of stands out now. Is there going to be an international soca hit from a TNT artist? My opinion is that it has already. It has happened many times. I think Marshall has done quite well for himself. I think that we were able to reach really, really far with Bungie Garland's Differentology. I think further than any of us expected it to go. Sing some Grey's Anatomies. I kind of think like a lot of people still cover it. Like I think there's a pan side in Sweden, which is really random, but there's a pan side in Sweden that still covers it. And I think if you wanted to be like established international soca, I guess you probably mean more to the levels of, I guess, Billboard, um, Ed Sheeran, Migos, Rihanna, that kind of stuff. That's always the comparison. And I will always say there's always room for it. There's always room for it, and there's always space for it. There's a lot of people who are able to do that. How you get it done is usually something else. I think the way how music works is that you could chase it and you could get through, but there's a total difference in the serendipity of the universe picking you and picking what you have. I think once your intentions were creating the song is very, very honest and very pure, I think it makes the whole process and opening the doors way easier. My whole experience is that honest projects seem to translate better. The emotion and the mood is naturally put in. The happiness and the joy in getting it done usually comes from there. And with that being said, soca being festival music, to be very, very honest with you, soca being festival music is all about creating a mood and not necessarily sharing a mood that you personally have. And that kind of, for me, in my own mind, me, not everybody else, my perception is that blocks your question from happening. That blocks people from getting more out of the music, and it getting further than it could be. When we go have our reverb session with the technical side of production, how to record and edit, if all of them come back and do that, I could try my thing, or I could actually send one of my colleagues to kind of get that done. The technical side of recording, you're probably not going to get that covered in an hour, but within an hour, there's a lot of useful information that you could get. Like I did say that I kind of touched on a bit of it and didn't go into it in depth, but that involves a lot of detail and a lot of care. I mean, any questions that you probably could have, I would be glad to just go back and forth with people on emails if anybody having some problems. So you could always, I guess, you could contact me, or you could go to this same thing that's going to be up on MusicTT's YouTube channel and ask a question, and you could ask a question with your email and I could respond to those, hopefully in a timely fashion, as a busy fella, but I'll try my best.
What was the hardest lesson you learned as a producer?
Hardest lesson I learned as a producer, the business side is usually always the hardest lesson. One other question, do you think that our music keeps changing sonically, just following trends rather than tapping into ourselves to find something original? Mr. Rhythm Rider, you are very, very correct, and I do agree with that. I think we within the soca industry, keeping current and keeping hype is important because I guess it is hinged on a lot of radio play. So staying there and keeping in mind theirs is important. But in the process, I think sometimes we lose ourselves in the trends to what is current, like having a kick that is way too loud because Drake is doing it, or having snares that are just specifically 808 and way too thin because Migos was doing that, or trap is a trend. Once we do that, we will always have a groove, we'll always have an inherent thing, but stamping our sound is very, very important. And I think we as producers have that responsibility on our shoulders, but I also think that it is important for people with a larger wealth of knowledge to share things that happened so that we know where we are, because we need to know where we're going. Because once you know where we're going, then we wouldn't have to ask questions like, when is our international soca hit from a TNT artist going to come? We have to be able to stand behind what we are, who we are, firmly and proudly and continuously, because we could do it this year and it may not work, and that doesn't mean that we need to change our whole approach or formula. It's the same way like reggae has always been reggae. It stays exactly what it is one drop. stays. It does not move. Now it has evolved sonically, but it stayed the same. The intent has stayed the same, and they are unapologetically Jamaican and reggae artists. Dancehall has evolved in trend, but it unapologetically stays itself. I think that we are kind of there. I'm not saying that we are not, but I'm not saying that we are fully there. I think we have room to grow. My opinion. I have spoken for an entire hour. Yeah, I did well. And I sound like I know what I was talking about. So I hope everybody believe what I was saying, as opposed to just be like, hey, that boy, that man was talking real toots by talking about twiddly dudes and stuff. But yeah, are you willing to partner on projects that may not be financially viable but socially beneficial? It depends on what your idea of financially viable and socially beneficial means. I think that once you are creating something, then you can create a space for it to be financially viable. The extent to which we will never know, but you can create it to be in that space. Socially beneficial depends on what you mean by socially beneficial. Soca versus soca, SOCA versus SOKA. I think if you give me a definition of both of them, I would probably be able to give you my thoughts on both. I'm not sure exactly what soca is. And I mean, we already know that the sonic characteristics of things change over a period of time. So soca is something that, if that and all is something kind of hard to define. Toodly doodlies are muy importante. Thank you very much, Charlene, a very good brethren, Charlene, who is very good at doodlies as well, boy, you know. But yeah, anything that you think that you need to ask me, I guess you can take it down now. shrfmumbles@gmail.com. Get it up. You could probably go through MusicTT's page, and hopefully they could probably put it up when they put this up on their YouTube page, and you can reach out to me, and I'll try to respond in a timely fashion as best as I could. Soca, Rashoti I, true intent of fusing two great cultures. Soca, a type of calypso. Eloquently put. I would never call soca Rashoti I's intent. I believe that, yes, shrfmumbles@gmail.com, you did spell it right. I believe that what you trying to infer to be Rashoti's creation would be Jamu, which is, from a technical perspective, members of the band of Jamu could tell you how it is done. It's a kind of a thing where the four kind of drops on the one, there's a kind of tukum, kak, kind of a weird kind of a thing that they do with the drums and the way the bass falls. And it is an adaptation of the syncopations of the tabla or Indian instruments, as well as certain things in like the 6/4 interpolations of African instruments brought forward onto upstrums on guitars or downbeats on drums and kicks and hi-hats. I'm not even probably explaining it properly, but I think what you call soca is a different thing to what I believe Jamu is, because again, like I say, I'm speaking from a place of light ignorance here. And Rashoti I's true intent, from what I understand through speaking to some of the members of the family, is more the Jamu side of it. I think that the soca part was him bringing that, the soca and the kaiso part, which is different from Jamu. But I think everybody knows him from being around Shorty I, Jamu God. The soca and kaiso thing, that's where it started. And essentially, if that is the case, I could kind of say that soca and soca kind of like two versions or interpolations of the same thing. I think soca is just a modern version. It's just where it has evolved to, and where it is now, and where it's going. Just as I said before, it's really important to kind of know where you're from, where you came from, to judge your present. And the best way to know where you're going is to know where you're from. So you judge your present on your past, you judge your future on your present. So presently, where we are, based on everyone's opinions, I think you have a very clear indication of what our future holds until something shows up in the present to give us a better idea as to where our direction is going. You could take that left or right. Could be positive, could be cynical, but that's my opinion on it. Did I overrun my time?
You're good.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you, everybody. And again, I want to reiterate that you could find, if you missed most of it, you could go back to the start and get it up on YouTube, on MusicTT's YouTube page. I'm not sure how and when, what day or what time, but it should be soon. And thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Boom.